Hey guys, it's us again, Spring and Nicole coming at
We're
you
back.
today. So y'all come on in. I'll give you guys some time to just kind of get in and get settled, and we are going to jump into the topic in just a moment.
Very excited to talk about this. I'm
Yes.
looking at my notes over here, and it's very long. We had a great conversation prepping for this episode and cannot wait to dive in. I feel like this is a very universal feeling, challenge, struggle that a lot of mompreneurs feel regularly. And we have some great tactics to share with them to overcome it.
And I am real life mompreneuring today.
Yeah, baby.
So she will be joining us. So you may hear some cooing in the background or even some cries here and there. So,
It's
yes,
real life.
it's real life. We don't just talk the talk, we walk the walk.
Right. That's right.
So y'all come on in and drop a line. Let us know where you're at today, where you're watching from, and what's going on. We love to hear about all the updates with family, with business, and
Mhm.
everything in between.
Mhm. Yeah, while we wait a minute for people to join, I'm finishing up a book, The 12-Week Year. I'm sure you've heard of it.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, I've seen it a little bit around, and I've been listening to it actually, trying to get through as fast as I can because I'm like, how do we do as much as I need to do in a short amount of time? As we always do. It's actually really good. Yeah, the 12-week year, highly recommend. Um, it will step up your game when it comes to staying super focused and strategic about your time. Yeah.
I need to go look for this.
Yeah, listen for it. Go on your walks. Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah. I need to, I'm more into like podcasts and audiobooks these days because I simply just don't have the time to like sit down and read. Because if
Correct.
I sit down to open up a book, inevitably I'm going to find something else to do, or one of my kids is going to find something else for me to do.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
yeah, I've been on the audiobook kick as well. And what I'll do is if it's a really good book, I'll buy the physical copy after I've listened to it. So then when I go back, I'm going to read it faster. I'll take notes. I will essentially execute on whatever chapters I want to. But getting that information as fast as we can, yeah, that's the goal.
it's better on the audio side the first time around. Like, that's how I
Right,
feel too.
for sure.
Well, let's get started, Nicole. And as people
Let's
come
do
in, make sure
it.
to join us.
So today's topic is all about if you're a mompreneur, you obviously have very high standards for yourself as a mom, as a business owner, as a professional. And today is about learning how to, obviously, we're always talking about how to balance, but today is really about your internal struggle with never feeling like you're doing enough and kind of internally beating yourself up some of those days where you really needed to get more done and it just didn't happen. So, our overall theme for today is giving yourself grace and how to do that.
That is so important, giving yourself grace because we have high standards for ourselves, like Nicole said. And sometimes when we don't meet those standards, you can't beat yourself up about it, right? You
Right.
have to be able to recognize just those small steps that you've taken, those
Mhm.
lead to those bigger goals and that bigger milestone that you're looking to hit. So
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, it's always, we talk about it with our colleagues, with our peers, with our women who are in this season of life, and it's kind of easier said than done, right? Like logically, we understand, like, you know, we're holding ourselves. We're building a business for us. If we're not building it, it's not building. But when it comes to actually the day to day of knowing that it's okay to do what you can that day, and there will be tomorrow, definitely easier said than done. I feel like in my case personally. So we looked up really the definition of giving yourself grace. What I actually love giving yourself grace. Like, what does that mean? Like, it's pat on the back? Is it just telling yourself it's okay? But actually, it means making the choice to interact with the world and with yourself with goodwill and kindness. So treating yourself with kindness. If you're not going to say that to your best friend, then you don't say it to yourself, and actively making sure that you are speaking to yourself with kindness. So again, easier said than done when you're in it.
And I love that definition, right? Making the choice to interact with the world and yourself with goodwill and kindness. I love, love, love that because it is certainly a choice.
Mhm.
And sometimes, sometimes, uh,
She has something
she has
to
something to say, right?
say.
Sometimes we don't realize that we're choosing to do certain things or think certain things, and sort of we have to sort of catch ourselves as we're
Right.
doing these things because it is a choice. We choose to think positively. We choose to um, set up our to-do list and do these things. It's a choice that we
Mhm.
make each day. So we're going to jump into this and really
Yeah,
get
absolutely.
into it
But
and
just
talk to you.
right, being diligent about your own mindset and realizing that you are in control of your mindset. And I was actually reading a really good book called The Mountain Is You. I'm a little over halfway through, and I'm telling you, it is like I'm reading through pages and I'm like, I feel attacked. Like, like this is speaking directly to me. But understanding that your emotions are actually not reality and that you have to be diligent about what is happening in your mind. So, we're going to talk about what are kind of the three things that really can hit home when it comes to feeling like you're not doing enough, that, even though you feel like you are actually doing the most, that you're just not doing enough. The biggest thing that comes to my mind is I feel this the most when I am doing comparison of what others are accomplishing or, able to get done in a day, able to accomplish. And especially those who are actually not in the same season of life as me. So let's talk about comparison as a killer.
Let's talk about it because that that is really impactful when you are comparing yourself to others, especially like Nicole said, when somebody's not in the same season as you, when they're if their kids are grown,
Right.
if they don't have kids and they're
Right.
giving you advice,
Right. Yeah. Hey, little girl. Yeah.
it's
Yeah, that's exactly right. So seeing that feed of, success and achievement and whatever beautiful picture is being painted on social media, that comparison it's a struggle for sure. I will say that I'm trying to learn when you are feeling like a tinge of um, jealousy or why am I not there yet, starting to beat yourself up a little bit, just note that that is showing you something. There's something there that you actually really want, which we probably can point that out what we're seeing, but
Mhm.
also that you're on your own journey. They might not have anything at home the way that you have, and everyone's just on your own journey. So let's just make sure that when you are feeling like you're in comparison mode, just notice it. Just notice it and note that you are on your own journey. And that is something that can really trigger that feeling of really being hard on yourself for no reason. So, comparison. The next topic I wanted to bring up that pulls at my I'm not doing enough strings is knowing that your capacity for what you can handle will change.
Oh, say it again, Nicole.
The capacity that you can handle at any given time in your professional life, work life, home life will change. And that is just part of life. And that's okay.
That
Yeah.
is okay. And guess
Yeah.
what, guys? This is one of the things that I am currently struggling with as we
Mm,
speak because my capacity has changed.
mhm.
And I had a very long and deep conversation with my husband about this because I was feeling like, uh, uh, I guess the word is inadequate, because I was
Mm-hmm.
feeling like I wasn't accomplishing the things that I needed to accomplish as I was doing before I had the
Mm-hmm.
baby.
Right.
And he said, first of all, he said, "You have a newborn baby." He pointed out all the things that I do on a daily basis in
Mm-hmm.
terms of working, in and on my business, and then also being a mom, being a wife, running a household. So
Mm-hmm.
he's like, look at all the things that you're doing.
You are doing the most.
He's like, that's probably one of the things he kept saying. You're doing too much. So
Uh-huh.
calm down, sit down.
Calm down.
Like,
It's
you know,
real. We just let it fly off like we are handling so much at any given point. Our capacity is huge, probably compared to a lot, which we don't need to compare, but we are doing so much, but we do not take the time to notice it, recognize it for ourselves. So, comparison, it's going to trigger that feeling. Recognizing that your capacity can change and that is okay. It's 100% part of life. And that is just navigating everything. The third topic I wanted to touch on is that the changes to your productivity is not backsliding,
not at all.
especially as a business owner.
Not
So
at all.
knowing that, yeah, so that's probably my biggest fear is that you work so hard, you're putting in the work, you're growing, you are putting yourself out there. And the moment that you can't hold that same capacity level, you're going to backslide. Right. But knowing that that is actually not true, you're not the same person that you were last year or 2 years ago. That's proof that you're not backsliding. Sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that you need to constantly be open to reflection, to see where you were and where you've come. And even if you're at a point where, say, this year, last time in my business, I made X amount of dollars, but this year I'm below that,
Mm-hmm.
take a moment to think about all of the changes and why that is.
Right.
Think about what the economy was like this time last year, what it's like now. Think about where you were, what season of life you were in this time last year, and where you are now. Think about all of these things that play a major part in your productivity, in your capacity, and what you're able to accomplish on a daily basis. And that will help you to really sort things out in a much better way, because again, we have to give ourselves that grace, and knowing that we can't do all the things all the time, like we said last time. Just because you can doesn't mean that you should.
That's right. It's all weaving back together. Yeah, absolutely. I think about, like you were saying, I love your comparison of like, look where you were holistically last year to see an actual outcome. So the work I was doing last year, I was making a lot more, but it was work that was not sustainable and that I was not going to build my future. It was fast cash, but it was not going to build my future. So taking it into an entire account of last year might have been up in some areas of my life, but not providing the future that I want as well. So I love your like holistic reflection so that you can kind of ground yourself and wait, this is what I'm doing right now. This is the season of life that I am in right now. I'm on my own path, and just be able to ground yourself in that. And that is the beginning, I think, of giving yourself grace.
Absolutely. And guys, I really want y'all to understand that we um live these things every single day. We experience these things, the topics that we come to you guys about. It is because when Nicole and I get together, we're like, oh, let me tell you what's going on. And then we're like,
Exactly.
okay, let's talk about this, because if this is what we're experiencing, this can't be isolated. Like, we know other
Correct.
people are having the same experience. And so, I say that to say, in again, like Nicole said, just because you were making a lot of money at one point in time,
Mhm.
the what you were doing may not have been sustainable.
Mhm.
And to truly relate to that and to be have a vulnerable moment right now, what
Mhm.
I was doing last year, the things that I was doing, the money that I was making, it was great, it was wonderful, but it wasn't
Mhm.
sustainable at all. If
Right.
you want to build a successful business that's going to be in it for the long haul,
Right.
you have to play the long game, and you have to think about the structures that you need to put in place,
Mhm.
the people that perhaps you need to put in place. You may not need a large team at all,
No.
but if you're going to build things out in a sustainable way, you can't always be the one doing all the things.
Yeah, and let us know if you're watching this on replay. Definitely let us know. But let us know. I've been contemplating this topic for a show of ours: fast cash versus future building. Because there are definitely some questions that you want to get the answer, get to the bottom to, in order to know where your efforts are going. Are you building income, and maybe that is your goal right now, and maybe you're not on, the next step, which is making sure you have a sustainable future in a long-term business. Right now, it's about bringing in money, which I totally understand was definitely there. And there are some questions that you want to be able to internally answer to know, okay, now I'm ready to build for a future that's sustainable, that success is not tied to my time. That's really probably the biggest difference in building fast cash versus a sustainable long-term system-based business. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let us know if you want a little show on that, because I could definitely dive real deep into that one. Okay, so we're tactical people. We have a problem. We want to figure out, well, what are the next steps that we can take? What are the small steps we can take to reach our goals, right? So this half, we have kind of two sets of tactical steps. The first set is if you are in a season of life where you are cooking, you have your routine, maybe your kiddos are a little more independent, but there could be a change in the future. Your capacity for your workload could change in the future. What can you do to plan for that change? Right? So, we're going to talk about tactical tips to address planning. Then, we're going to talk about if you're in the thick of it right now, what do you do right now when you can only get 20 minutes max for concentration and design and development of something in your business? So we wanted to give you both of these because these are kind of our positioning right now as mompreneurs. So mine is I have a little girl. She's almost 4. We're thinking about number 2. It sounds crazy to even say that, but that's in the plan, right? We just throw that out there.
That's
But I'm really,
exciting.
yeah, I really am worried about the amount of workload that I have right now, and the commitment I have to build my business. How would that fit with a brand new little baby? So because I'm in this season right now where I'm future setting, what can I do to know that my capacity will change, and that's okay, but how can I plan for that? So
Yeah.
here's where it gets really good, guys. The very first thing that I want us to do is to audit the work that only you can do. So, as a business owner, there are certain things that only you can do, but there are many other things you're doing in your business that someone else can do for you.
And be realistic about that, right? And
Yeah,
so sometimes we, especially as moms, we kind of have a problem with releasing the
yeah,
reins, and we
yeah,
kind of we want things just so, and the way that we do it is, what makes the house run and the house go.
right.
But in business, when you think about your business, of course, your business is your baby as well,
Mm,
but be realistic about the things that only you can do. Is it something that someone else can do? Is it something that can be automated, and taken off of your plate so you can, free up that mental load, but also physically free up your time as well to focus on other things that's going to, either bring in more business or help you scale, whatever it is that you're trying to do in that moment.
Yes. And if you're planning for something in the future, maybe scaling isn't really, where you're headed right now. Sustainability is. So there is an acronym I use to help my clients really figure out what are those things that you can do, and what do you do with the others. So an acronym I use is DAD, DAD. The first D stands for what can I delegate? So what off of this list can I get hire a VA even for a couple hours a week to really take care of things for me? Again, you don't have to hire an employee with a W-2 that needs, insurance or benefits or anything. You can hire subcontractors. This is what we're talking about. So the first D is delegation. The A is for automate. There are so many of my clients that say, oh, I need to hire someone for this. I need to hire someone for that. You don't need to hire anyone until you have maxed out the tech tools that you're already paying for. You really need to dive in and see what's in your tech stack. What are you not optimizing and maximizing and using the heck out of? So A is for automation. The final D is for discarding. What are you doing right now that's actually not putting in the work for the return, not giving you the return for the work? So what on the list that you're doing within your week that's actually not moving the needle, and you are trying it out and figuring it out, and it's actually not doing much, discard it. We're going to play that 80-20 rule and find that 20% that's actually moving the needle. So if
I
you're
love
doing it, yeah, DAD. Okay. Delegate, automate, or discard. Yeah.
Love it. Discard what is not working.
That's right. Find that 20%. All right. So the next tactical tip for planning for capacity change is prioritizing systems. Now, systems ninja over here. I love systems, and I'm always trying to figure out how the heck do I systemize something so that I don't have to touch it again. So this is my realm, right? But if you are planning for a capacity change, you need to prioritize building systems. Okay? Because if you hire that VA for 10 hours a week and you don't have a clear system for him or her to take over, it's not going to be successful. You only hire when you have a system, a clear system for someone to take over. So that is tip number 2. Don't hire until you have a system.
and to speak a little bit to that, because I've had a little bit of experience in this arena where I think I hired maybe too soon, and I hadn't really hashed out the details of the position itself.
Sure.
And it didn't work out well. And so that's where you want to kind of take a step back, look at what it is, really codify your workflows, right? And so what is it that you're doing each and every day that is sustaining your business, right? Once you've codified what's sustaining it, let's then look at the next level and codify what will get you to the next level, what needs to be done. And those things that are simply sustaining, those are the things that you can delegate. And the things that you need to do to get you to the next level, those are the things that you yourself want to be doing.
Right. Absolutely. So sustain your business first, create that clear cog that you want turning in your business, and then you're able to delegate that. I love that. And make sure that it can't just be automated before you hire someone. Okay, so we have audit your work, prioritize your systems before you hire. The third tactical tip for planning for a capacity change, making sure you're giving yourself grace in this area, is evaluating opportunities for passive income. So if you are a professional woman, you've been in careers, you've been in positions, you have attained knowledge, wisdom, experience, and expertise in an area. That's gold, my friend. That is gold. So the next thing that you want to do is figure out, what are you doing right now that you happen to be doing over and over again? So for me, it's organizing business operations. I am having the same conversations. I'm having the same points that I'm pulling out, questions that I'm asking my one-to-one clients. And I'm thinking, you know what? I could put this in a program and I could give them step by step on how to organize your business operations in one tool and be there as a coach and have a more passive income stream in doing that work, because I'm going to put in all that work up front and there it is for them. So definitely evaluate your opportunities for passive income streams. Passive just meaning you put in a work up front and it can support your clients and you for long term. Okay, so those are my tips for if you have some time to plan for capacity change. Give yourself grace, know that it's coming, know that it's a part of life, audit your work, prioritize systems, and look at opportunities for passive income. All right, now, Spring, if you are in the thick of it,
Which I am.
now, you are working on your business, you are momming to the fullest extent, please tell us things that we can do right now to work through this season of life.
So when you are in the thick of things and you're just trying to figure it all out, and sometimes you just feel overwhelmed, take a step back and really think about what your limits are. Know what your limits are. And that's the first thing to really sort of bringing it all in. Know your limits. And don't be afraid to set those limits, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. And if you're trying to work, and you're not replenishing your energy, you're not doing things that fulfill you,
Right.
it's not going to work. And again, you guys, I'm telling you, you have no idea how much this stuff is really like resonating and really happening in this moment with me, with this new baby, with trying to figure out this new way of being for a moment, this new season that I'm in. Not necessarily a new season, because I've had 3 newborn babies prior to this one, but a new season in that this is the first time that I've had a newborn baby and a business.
Right.
And so trying to figure all that out, I have to tell myself at certain points, like, okay, stop, push away, and go find something else to do, because you'll frustrate yourself to no end, and then you won't be productive at all. And actually you'll start to be counterproductive and
Right.
start to sort of self-sabotage, and you're not even realizing it. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
know your limits.
Know your limits, and you do not need to push through them like a lot of bro marketing, as I like to say it. Like, put your head down, do the work, wake up before the sun,
Oh
work
my
all night
gosh.
long, go away for 9 months, do all the work, come back, show your results. Like,
Yeah, like
let me figure out the next 60 minutes. I have a baby. Like, so just know that you don't have to, you can know your limits, be self-aware, give yourself grace, know your limits. You do not have to push through them. You are enough right now. Yeah.
absolutely. And so with that, knowing your limits, you need to be able to prioritize, right? So once you've said, okay, wait, let me stop for a second, because I can't continue like this. You want to prioritize. You want to go back and you want to look at, okay, what am I trying to accomplish? You can look at it for a month on end, for a week on end, even just as you plan your day out, right?
Right.
What is my end goal for, let's say, for the month, right? For the month, I want to say acquire 2 new clients. Okay. How am I going to do that? What does it take, number one, for me to get a client? Let me understand that. Number two, is it a numbers game? Do I have to talk to a certain number of people before I get at least one client? So then I need to start working on setting up calls on my calendar so that I can talk to, the average number of people that it will take for me to get one yes from those clients, right?
Right.
But that's an example of the backwards design. My goal is to have 2 new clients. what does it take for me to get a client? If I need to talk to a certain number of people, okay,
Mhm.
now let me start reaching out to these people and getting them on my calendar. And then I need to look at my actual sales process. What am I doing to, um, you know, to introduce my service, to, relate it to the problem that they're having, and then
Mhm.
hopefully close the sale. How am I doing all of that? So that's one of the things that you want to, that's how you want to look at it, that backwards design. You have an end goal, and then from that end goal, you plan accordingly how
Yeah.
the steps that it's going to take for you to get there.
Absolutely. I said this in a previous show that there's only so many things you can control, and those are your leading indicators. So, setting those leading indicators and knowing that if you're meeting those, you're hitting the measurements, the lagging indicators should take care of themselves. And if they're not, then there's something with your leading indicators. So, those things the actions that you have control over, that's all you need to work on. That's all you need to backwards plan. Yeah.
Yes. So, right, we've set our limits, we've prioritized. Now, the next thing we want to do is not to overload ourselves once we
Preach.
set once we set these priorities, right? Okay. So
Yeah.
pick three things, your top three, right? Because the list can always go on, right?
Correct.
There's this
Yeah.
and that
Mhm.
and okay. So I mean, it can go on and on and on. Pick your top three things, and set those things as your priority for either that month or that week, however
Mhm.
you're looking at it. And then you work towards knocking those things out, right?
Mhm.
And also understand that if you don't get to accomplish those three things, it's
Mhm.
okay. Look at what happened, reflect on what
Mhm.
happened during that month or that week. We'll just say that month, where that's the example we'll
Yeah.
continue to use. Look at what happened during that month. Did you intentionally create time to achieve this goal? If you did, and there are additional things that came up that you couldn't anticipate in order to achieve that goal, then that's
Mhm.
okay. What you do for the next month is you make space for those things that
Mhm.
came up last month, and then perhaps this month, you only need to work on that one thing that you
Mhm.
didn't get done last month, because you know that this is going to be a much huger lift than what you anticipated.
Right.
So, again, be realistic as you set your goals, as you prioritize.
I'm going to throw a caveat in there too. The one of the goals that I have a problem with setting too big of goals for the time allotted. So
Me too.
I'll say, okay, one of the things I want to get done this week is rebuild my entire website. Okay, Nicole, that's going to take a lot more than 1 week with the time that you have allowed for that. So just be cognizant of the level of goal. I'm all about big goals, but just know that your capacity is maybe you might be shooting for the stars where really you want to map out something realistic, because there's an energy shift as well when you're not marking off the things that you have decided that you're going to get done for the week, right? So guard your energy by putting down things that you can truly get done. And that comes back to probably our next thing, which is recognize the progress that you've made.
Yes.
You taught me this, Frank.
Yes.
Please tell others. I have a hard time with this.
I do too, and it's hard for me to look and see the things that I've accomplished up until then, because in my mind it's
Mhm.
like, yes, I did this, but it's what needed to be done, so it's no big deal. I
Right.
still gotta do,
Yeah.
I still have to do
Yeah.
this, and this. So I'm
Yes.
always worried about what's not done and not looking at what has been done already and what it took to actually get that done.
Yes.
And those are the moments sometimes where we really need to sit back and we really need to reflect and give ourselves a pat on the back,
Mm.
because that will give us the energy that it takes to accomplish that next goal.
Mhm.
So be
Yeah.
sure, be
Mhm.
sure to give yourself some kudos every now and then. It's okay.
Yes. Yeah. And when you have finished that big project or something, attach some kind of reward for yourself and give yourself the dang reward. Don't say like, I was just part of whatever. I didn't get done fast enough. I didn't do the level, whatever. Give yourself the dang reward. This is about the energy, filling things up with the energy you need to carry on and not just shoving your progress, your achievements to the side and say, well, I'm on to the next, right? You're just going to drain yourself that way. Give yourself the dang reward.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, right? Is like if we tell ourselves, okay, once I do this, I'm gonna go get my nails done, or once I do this,
Mhm.
I'm gonna go go to Starbucks and just enjoy a cup of coffee, or I'm gonna go take a walk once I'm done.
Yeah, right.
I am I am very, very guilty of this, of saying, oh, I don't need to do that right now. There's just one more thing that I need to do. And then
One
I
more, one more.
just one
Yeah.
more. It's always just one more. Just like the kids, one more time, mommy. Just one more time.
Yeah.
When you're swinging them around or playing with them or something, and it's like it's time to go to bed. Just one more time, mommy. Just one more time.
Yeah. We do it to
One
ourselves.
more time ends up
Yeah.
being 30 more minutes,
Right.
and you're like, wait a minute, we have to get up early. It's 9:30. You're not asleep, and now you're wild and crazy. And so it's one of those things where you have to know your limit. you
Mhm.
have to you have to say, okay, I've accomplished this. Let me go do what I said I'm going to do. And again,
Mhm.
that is going to re-energize you. That is going to
Right.
refill your cup, so
Right.
you are not pouring from an empty cup, because that's not going to
Yes. Do
serve.
not let yourself get empty. I think that's the moral story. If you're in the thick of it, is be very cognizant of what you have in your cup and make it a priority to keep yourself filled if you want to continue to be the mom you want to be and the business owner that you want to be, for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
I love that. Okay. Something else we wanted to end this kind of show with is just the visual cue of when you're on that airplane and they're giving the safety briefing on if something happens and the oxygen masks fall, we all know what's coming next, right? Whose mask goes on first? It's mom's. We cannot do anything if we are not breathing first, right? So just keep that visual cue in mind. You are enough right now. Give yourself grace. Make sure you're refilling your cup, guard your energy, and know that you're not giving up on the journey. Your journey may be changing and shifting. Yeah, probably for the better because you definitely turn into a different person.
And remember to put your oxygen mask on first,
Right.
because if you don't save yourself, you can't save everybody else.
Mm-mm.
So remember, we always want you to think about that as you're going daily, knocking these goals out, being the badass mompreneur that you are, right? Be sure to put your oxygen mask on first.
That's right. We are always rooting for you over here. And if you want to continue this conversation, we invite you to our Facebook group that we have created, the Mompreneur Playbook. You can find it at facebook.com/groups/, the Mompreneur Playbook. We will go ahead and tag it below this video in a replay so you can access it easily. Come join us in the conversation. That is a group that we are pouring into resources that we have, things that we have figured out. We want it to be a place for conversation and connection and collaboration. For example, I found a new tool, a free tool from CoSchedule, which is a social media planning site where they actually have a headline analyzer. So if you're working on a blog post or something, throw in the headline that you had planned for and see how it would pop up in SEO ranking. So things like that we're like, man, I wish someone would have shared that with me a year ago, right?
I'm looking for a pen to write this down.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw it in the Facebook group for sure. But yeah, it's co-scheduler headline tester, I think is what it's called. But again, that's exactly what this group is for, is to share these resources that are only going to support each other. So again, find that Facebook group, the Mompreneur Playbook, and join us and make sure that you have support and community that you need to continue on these goals.
Guys, it is always a pleasure. If you are watching the replay, don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have any questions once this is over with. We love talking and interacting with you guys, and just know that we're here and we're in the thick of it with you.
We're in it. We're in it.
All right, guys.